everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I'm going to jump right into it, and I'm going to start with the weather. My God, what happened the last couple days? That was rough. That was like a nightmare. I went outside, it was 20 degrees, the wind was whipping, there was snow everywhere. I wasn't sure if I was still asleep. Once I realized I wasn't, I ran back inside and threw a temper tantrum. And then I put on some warm clothes and went out and took some pictures. So, anyway, I do think it's over. That was the last bite of winter, it looks like, and within a week we're going to be close to 80 degrees. So, I think the hot weather is right around the corner. And I hate to say this is just my opinion, but I fear drought conditions again because just what I'm seeing out in the woods. I'm seeing over a large territory, a lot of areas that are underwater, normally would be underwater right now, and are bone dry. No mud pits, none of that. So that's a little concerning. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm completely wrong. So that's it on that topic. I'm going to jump into the ongoing topic, which I'm sure we're going to be talking about for a little while till it comes to a conclusion. Is the situation based around at-large City Councilor Yuki Cohen, who is also the owner of Methuselah Bar and Restaurant on North Street. And for those of you that haven't really been following this, I'm sure most of you have, over the past year, due to the coronavirus restrictions on restaurants, which you've seen everywhere in the country, Yuki Cohen, as the owner of Methuselah's, has been at center stage on that issue. She's been hit, I think, 3 or 4 times with some violations now. The first time, I think, was back in August of last year, and then again in the late fall, early winter, and then somewhere else there was, then again with Councilor Lampiazzi involved as a licensing board member, and then now this one, the newest one from last week, where she was seen filmed again, and it's weird that people do run, but I mean, hey, that's the world we live in. But she was filmed dancing on top of the bar without a face mask with 3 other women. There was no distancing. They were no face mask, twerking, the whole deal. It looked really bad. Customers without face masks. It looked really bad. Now, after the first couple incidents, after the second one, second one drew a lot of attention. Her second violation, and that was back in the late fall. I think it was like the first week of December. And that one drew a lot of attention because we had that massive outbreak taking place in the nursing homes, and a lot of deaths happening. And our state rep, Tricia Farley-Bouvier, even came out and said restaurant owners are responsible for this. She made some serious accusations. One of her posts, she deleted a whole section of it. But, I screenshotted it only because she's a politician, not to be the creepy stalker person, but hey, she's a public official, and it was shocking that she posted something like that. And it sat there for a couple days. And she felt the need to delete it. So, it became this huge issue. Now, the restaurants got shut down, most of you remember, and I thought that was completely wrong. So I covered that. I worked with a lot of the restaurant owners doing interviews. Craig Benoit from the Hot Dog Ranch, who is running for city council this year also. And the restaurants ended up being back open within less than 10 days from us covering it and really running with the ball. And that is what happened. I know other people would probably want to put a different spin on it, but that is what happened. And Methuselah's was at the center of that. So after they get back open, after all that, and the other restaurant owners being upset with Yuki Cohen because her restaurant was the one at the center of some of these violations, and as a city councilor, an at-large city councilor, she wasn't working with the other restaurant owners to help everyone Instead, she said that the reason they were going after her was because she was a woman and an immigrant and a single mom, and it was political. Not she didn't admit she stuck to that she didn't do anything wrong, and this was back in December. So it really upset a lot of the restaurant owners, and immediately before it even went to the licensing board, because that second violation, the controversy I believed, and a lot of people believed with that, was Yuki Cohen, the second violation, got in trouble for serving from behind the bar, which you weren't supposed to do. You were only supposed to serve drinks with meals. You weren't supposed to be just serving drinks at a bar. And she was serving behind the bar without a face mask, and she was serving City Councilor Dina Lampiazzi, who was also on the licensing board, and her wife was with her, Dina's wife. And that's who she was serving. Somehow we weren't allowed to talk about that. Somehow all the pack came out to back her. So before that violation even went to the licensing board, Yuki Cohen again put a post out saying that this was a witch hunt. She said this is she was rising from the ashes of a stake burning, and that this was a witch hunt after her, and all women and immigrants and every single moms needed to unite, and that this had nothing to do with violations. So before it even went to the licensing board, all the pack and the clique that I always talk about did chime in on social media. Andrea Harrington, our district attorney, and I'm not trying to start a war with the DA, believe me, but she did publicly put this. And what concerned me about Andrea's, all of them concerned me, but what concerned me about her, she's the DA, so she's supposed to be just completely unbiased and looking at just facts. She's supposed to be one of those people. But before this even went to the licensing board, she put out this post, and she commented on the witch hunt post. She put, "Misogyny and racism are alive and well in Berkshire politics. Shame on the media and certain elected officials for giving it air. Good for you for calling it out and for what it is. It's up to all of us to stand with you and to be the light." So the DA came out backing Yuki Cohen. On the same post, at-large Councilor Pete White, he put, "Glad you were feeling better. I couldn't imagine having 2020 be my first year on the council. Stay strong and healthy. Hope to see you again soon at social distance. Maybe with tacos involved." So he came out supporting her. Deanna Rufer, the community development director, put, "Stay strong and honorable and encourage others who share your vision and integrity to run for office." That's Deanna Rufer, our community development director. Now here's the kicker. Dina Lampiazzi, our Ward 6 city councilor, who was part of the next violation, she was part of it. And also licensing board member. She put, "Thank you for being such a responsive member of our local restaurant community. It is reassuring to know when restaurant owners are putting the health and safety of their patrons above all. Stay positive. Keep doing what you are doing." Now this is Dina, who hardcore went after some of the other restaurants. I mean, and if you don't believe me on that, you can go back and watch some of those meetings on PCTV where she did. She was pretty rough on them. Told them they ought to be ashamed of themselves, they put the community at risk, blah, 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 blah. And here she was being part of the violation, and then even on that, the gang, the clique, rallied, and it did, without it even getting to the licensing board, without even the decision being made, any public input. "I thought I fixed this chair." So that's why people get so upset. That's why the restaurant owners get so upset. They're like, look what happened to us, and look what happens to them. Nothing. That's where the good old boy, good old girl mentality and all that comes from. So on this one, Yuki Cohen is not denying it, but I think she needs to step down. I think she needs to resign. I think it's the right thing to do. I think she's in over her head. I don't believe she has any evil, mean intent towards anybody. She's in over her head, and she needs to step down. It's embarrassing for the whole city. And we need to remember all these other councilors. I want to sweep that whole council. I want a fresh start for Pittsfield. I don't have an agenda. I'm not part of a clique. I'm not running for something. I'm doing this. All I want to see is the gangs gone. And if the gangs are gone, I'm happy. That's all I'm trying to do. I think we need, after 40, 50 years of this kind of 1950s style government, so that's what, 70 years, but 1950s style government, it's time. It's time for real change and real diversity. You know, like some of the people who didn't understand the superintendent situation, where I said that again, that was proof of the cliques and the gangs. And some people were like, well, Joe Curtis, he was great with kids and you don't understand. And look, I'm not saying he isn't great with kids or any of that. Superintendent is a whole different ballpark. It's a political position. And a perfect analogy, you can use sports, basketball especially. Some of the best basketball players ever made horrible coaches when they went for it. There might be some rare exceptions, but for the most part, some of the most mediocre basketball players ended up being some of the best coaches ever in the game. Being a superintendent and being a teacher, two completely different things. Two completely different things. Is being a teacher a prerequisite to being a superintendent? I don't think it necessarily is. You should be in the education field, but it's a political position whether people want to admit it or not. Is Joe Curtis the right person for a political position? If the people that believe so, I mean, I have to look at the situation even with the district attorney's election, the last one, where a lot of people, even that liked Paul, they didn't like the fact that the way he became the DA. Because that's how we always got DAs here. And I was a huge supporter of Paul, and I'm one of his friends. But I understand that. What's different with what we just did with our superintendent picks? We had a chance for change. Same thing. So it's got to be breaking up the cliques and the gangs. And it has to be in Pittsfield. Has to be. So anyway, let's hope Councilor Cohen steps down. And I don't want to see her restaurant or her get personally hurt in this, but I hope she steps down as a councilor. It's the right thing to do. And everyone pay attention. Pay attention to your candidates. I'm going to be making those phone calls. I've already been messaging with some. It's coming. Interviews are coming. More candidates. So we'll keep it going. And I'll finish this story till it comes to a head and we figure out where we're at with it. So that is it for now. And I'll have another video or two out this weekend. So nice weather coming. Stay safe. Wear your masks. Be smart. And let's get out of this mess and try to get a normal life back. And I'll catch you all this weekend.